Welcome to the Explainer. So there's a new vulnerability making waves called React2Shell, and you've probably seen the score, a perfect and frankly terrifying 10 out of 10. It is a big deal. So today we are going to break it all down, what it is, who needs to be worried, and exactly what you need to do right now to get your project safe.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get a grip on just how serious this threat is. Then, we'll hit the big one. Are you vulnerable? After that, we'll dig into how the attack actually works, and finally, we'll lay out the action plan you need.
Okay, first things first. What even is React2Shell, and why is everyone in the dev community talking about it?
Yeah, this isn't just some minor bug. When a vulnerability gets a 10 out of 10, that's the highest, most critical score possible. It basically means two things. It's super easy for a bad actor to pull off, and the damage is catastrophic. And in this case, the damage is the holy grail for attackers, remote code execution, RCE. That means they can run whatever code they want on your server. They own it, total control.
So let's be crystal clear about what this means. An attacker sitting anywhere on the planet can craft one single malicious network request, send it to your server, and take it over. That's it. No password needed, no fancy login bypass, just one carefully crafted message is all it takes to get the keys to your entire kingdom.
Now this is where things get interesting, because there's a huge misconception floating around. Everyone's talking about Next.js, but the bug isn't actually in Next.js. Nope. The real problem is buried deep inside React's own core packages for server components. The best way to think about it, Next.js is just the most popular car on the road that happens to be built with this faulty engine. The problem isn't the car, it's the engine itself.
Okay, so that brings us to probably the only question that really matters to you right now. Am I vulnerable? Let's figure that out.
All right, here's the quick litmus test. If you're building a classic client-side React app, a standard SPA, you're safe. Still using the older but still great Next.js pages router, you're safe too. The vulnerability specifically and only targets apps using React Server Components. And what's the #1 way people are using those today? That's right, the modern Next.js app router. So if that's you, then yes, you are vulnerable. And here's the really scary part. This has absolutely nothing to do with any of the code you've written. Seriously, you can run create-next app, choose the app router, and do literally nothing else, and that server is vulnerable right out of the box. The attack vector is just that fundamental. It hits the server as it's first trying to read and understand the incoming request, way before it even thinks about rendering one of your pages or components.
Okay, so we know who's in the line of fire. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this incredibly clever and frankly dangerous attack actually pull it off? The whole thing, the entire exploit, it all comes down to this one piece of technology at the heart of server components, something called the flight protocol. So what the heck is that? Okay, the best analogy is to think of it like a specialized delivery service. You know your standard API call using JSON? That's like sending a letter through the regular mail. It's great for simple text and data. But React Server Components need to ship something way more complex. From the server to your browser, they need to ship the actual interactive components themselves. Flight is React's custom-built, white-glove courier service that knows exactly how to package, ship, and then reassemble that complex machinery on the other side. And this is where the Trojan horse comes in. The server was basically built to trust any package that arrives via its special flight courier. It just assumes it's legit. So an attacker can craft a package that on the outside looks like a perfectly normal piece of data, but hidden inside is a malicious command. The critical flaw, the bug, is that the server's unpacker gets the package, doesn't bother to check what's inside for danger, and just runs the hidden instructions. And just like that, game over. So to be super specific, not everything is vulnerable. Your regular old API routes that use GET or POST with JSON, totally safe. The front door is locked there. The weak point, the open window, is specifically the server actions feature. That's the part that uses the flight protocol to send data back to the server. And here's the kicker. Since it's just a network request, an attacker doesn't even need to use your UI. They can just pop open their browser's dev console and send the attack payload directly, bypassing all your forms and buttons. Okay, we know the what, the who, and the how. Now for the most important part of this whole thing, what you need to do to fix it. Let's talk about your action plan. Now, your immediate level of danger really comes down to one thing. Where are you hosting your app? If you're on a managed platform like Vercel, you've got a bit of a shield. Think of it like having a security guard out front. Their big network firewalls are already blocking the most obvious attack patterns. You're protected, for now. But if you're self-hosting,
On AWS, in a Docker container, wherever, you have no security guard. The front door has a broken lock and you are wide open. This is critical danger.
So here it is, your to-do list. And this is non-negotiable. Priority number 1, update your Next.js dependencies to the latest patched version, period. This is the only way to actually fix the broken lock in the code itself. And remember, just running npm install isn't enough. You have to redeploy your application to make the fix live. And for all of you self-hosters out there, this is a huge wake-up call. Seriously consider putting a security guard like a WAF from Cloudflare in front of your app. It's an essential extra layer of defense. And that's our deep dive into React2Shell. It's a pretty stark reminder, isn't it? As frameworks get more and more powerful, as we invent incredible things like server components to push the web forward, we also open up brand new, complex avenues for attack. It really leaves us with a big, lingering question for the whole community. As we innovate, how do we make sure we're building on solid, secure ground?